Steve Bowers welcoming you back to Studio 6 with the Blue Shine duo, Jimmy D. Taylor and Steve Patterson. And we've been taking trips over to Brownsville, Tennessee, and thereabouts, like I said, what we consider the extreme north end of the very southern Mississippi Delta, and that country blues. One thing that Jimmy has done in his life and career, he took this, got into Nashville. He was talking about Session A players. He was part of the Nashville Mafia. And did session work with anybody that wanted a good harmonica player, toured with Big and Rich. And so you kind of took this into a different dimension, kind of got away from this.
Well, I ended up playing a couple, I guess about 16, 18 months up there with the Music Mafia. Ended up playing more with James Otto, who married a Jackson girl. Okay. Played with him 6 or 8 months. Played with Shannon Lawson. And then we toured with Big and Rich and Gretchen and Kid Rock and Hank Jr. And so it was an experience. It was an experience. Yeah, definitely, it was fun. And
what's that like, by the way? I mean,
it was great for me because I was there. Unlike a lot of the guys, I own a business, so I wasn't there because I had to have the money.
Okay.
I was there because I just wanted to play.
Okay.
And I did see the both sides of the coin. A lot of guys had been up there that had made it, that were doing well. Saw a lot of guys that's been up there and haven't made it, and still there now, just trying to survive. Okay. It's definitely a passion and a love, and I appreciate it, you know. But I also appreciate the fact that I didn't have to do it. Right. The road deal, I'm telling you, that bus was really shiny and pretty, and I was starstruck for the first 10, 15 shows. Okay. But my wife will tell you, after leaving on Wednesday or Thursday and get back on Sunday for a while, it got old.
Oh,
you know, and I loved it and would still do some of it if invited. But one summer we did about 50 shows, and I was gone about every week. And between that and flying, which I hate, I flew to Detroit and played with Kid Rock a couple times. But the flying and all that and the airports is just not me.
Okay.
I'm a homebody.
So glad to be back.
Glad to be here.
Okay. Now you have these harmonicas custom made, you're saying?
I do have a lot of them custom made. The thing today, harmonicas like anything else with YouTube and just like with guitars, you know, Steve, I'm sure, you know, you look at people are handcrafting things now, and the perfection of instruments now. The harmonica is the same as any instrument. A lot of people viewed it as a toy back when Sonny Boy One started. When Good Morning Little School Girl came out, he was probably buying his harmonicas for $3 a piece. He was really the guy that was instrumental in bringing the harmonica up front. Yeah. And of course, Little Walter took his style and ran with it. And of course, the rest is history. Sonny Boy 2 and James Cotton, and then what it is today. But you know, the thing now with harmonica is a guy named Howard Levy, who played with Bela Fleck in the last 20 years, was a piano player, ended up figuring out how to overblow and overdraw this instrument to get more notes out of it. You actually only got 10 holes.
Okay.
And you were limited, you know, you could do the fine, but now you can go so you get all the half notes, which is the chromatic scale, like playing a chromatic harmonica. Okay. And that's what I've been working on the last 3 or 4 years to perfect that. And it's been a kind of a challenge. And there's several guys that make, this guy that makes these harps is up in Missouri. They're about $300 a piece. He stays a year behind. You can put one now. He doesn't care how much money you send him. You just get in line. He's great at his craft. And I've got several of these, and I've got several what they call Seidel harmonicas. And out of the box, a lot of the companies now like Hohner. I actually got these from the bandstand, Chuck. Hohner has figured out that they lost a lot of market share, so they've started making their own version of custom harmonicas that actually have this same feature where you can... So you can get all the half notes. So what it allows you to do actually is play more jazz licks and do a mixture, which is what's coming into play with diatonic harmonicas now.
Okay. So, Adam Gussow was here, a street musician, the professor from the University of Mississippi, and he was talking. He said, people ask, well, what do you play? Well, I play harmonica. And he said, there's always this pause to say, well, what else do you play? As if the harmonica is not a real instrument. And he was talking about how difficult just to do the things that you do. That's
absolutely,
you know, very precise, the musicianship of the instrument. And he talked about John Lee Williamson and others that once they got it up front, began to mimic the jazz sections and other things, horn sections and all this stuff. And he said it's a very, very sophisticated instrument and underappreciated.
Adam Gussow actually is a professor at Ole Miss, and in his spare time he does YouTube videos, teaching videos. So if anybody that wants to learn about harmonica playing, and especially overblowing and what I'm talking about, he's the guy I go to. I actually was last night, spent 4 or 5 hours watching his videos. He has a wealth of information.
You're right.
Wealth of information, yeah.
If you're just joining us, go back to the replay and you'll understand what Steve warned us about this. Yeah. Did you call Patterson when it was over with and say, "Hey, I think I've got this"?
Well, I just showed him that lick between breaks. I think. So it took me 5 hours to learn that one.
I was really scared one time. We were going to Memphis or someplace to play, and he had found a kazoo.
Okay.
Please no.
Hey, you can take one of these and look what you can do with this stuff. One of the things we talked about, we'll get back to music in this next segment, because we were talking about Hammy Nixon and Yank Rachel and Sleepy John Estes. I was listening to NPR a few months ago, and they had the new Greg Allman album, and he had taken a hanging swinging bridge or something.
Floating Bridge
was a Sleepy John song from 1937 or something. It's so odd that they find this stuff, and then when they do, it's like, here's what we got. But you were talking about other names from Ripley and Haywood County and people that were born here.
Petey Wheatstraw, a lot of people laugh at that name, but a lot of these guys played in jug bands together in Memphis, and that's how they all ended up hooking up. Buckle White, Homesick James was from, I believe, Somerville.
Who are you talking about? Steve is from Williston. In Fayette County.
Mississippi John Hurt was actually born in Williston, Tennessee, and then moved later on down to Mississippi.
Had a lot of players that actually, of course, Yank Rachel, we all know he was from Brownsville, but he ended up originally playing with Sonny Boy One. And I think
John Lee Williamson from here in Madison County. One other, and we talked about Mabel Smith, Big Maybell, who did the original Whole Lot of Shaking Going On. Quincy Jones produced that record and was just a formative artist and vocalist. Probably did not get the big break that propelled her, but went all the way to the Apollo Theater. It's just amazing. I didn't know. We were talking to Ed Bryant. We did a show earlier today with Ed Bryant about his book, that Gil Scott-Heron was one of the first 3 African-American students to integrate Tigard Middle School.
Really?
He was in the federal court case.
Wow.
Which I didn't know. He was here with his grandmother. He was living here with his grandmother.
Okay, he was the guy who was like the first rapper. Is that right?
Well, he went on. He did stuff. He died just within the last year or so, and just did a lot of different things in his life. But
a lot of heritage from this area.
From this area,
from all genres.
You pick that up talking to an attorney about the federal court book, and it's like, oh yeah, by the way, here's another note, and so in this thing, so it's a tremendous legacy that we have.
I think that's the thing that, and you talk about dropping them, but what really is wild, and especially from my perspective, and Steve can attest to it, that the way I began playing and never dreamed I would even be doing anything even like this or hooking up, and just the people that I have been fortunate enough to even be associated with, to open with, and Steve and I, first of all, it was Carl. We ended up playing with Mr. Carl when he had his Go Cat Go book come out. We did a couple of the bookstores with him, and then just being able to hang out when he was the last few years before his death. He played a lot around here, and he was accessible, and it was just a neat thing. Delbert, we opened for Delbert a couple of times. Of course,
you did Honey Boy Edwards.
Honey Boy Edwards, Honey Boy. He just passed away this past year, and man, he was another. He's another one
icon.
Another icon. We actually ended up playing down in Mississippi at Clarksdale at the Sunflower Blues Festival with a lady named Lane Wilkins. We actually toured with her for a little while. Her granddaddy was Reverend Robert Wilkins, who wrote the song Prodigal Son that the Rolling Stones recorded and made a hit out of. Wow. But we were down there and waiting to play, and this guy's Jim O'Neill had a store down there at the time. He's the guy that started Living Blues magazine from Ole Miss. He went from the Ole Miss. I guess he published it at Ole Miss and printed it when he started. And we heard this music, and we were standing around. We go down and knock on the door and open up. It's Ike Turner, and he said, "Come on in." They're rehearsing, and they were the headliners that night. And I told him I was from Brownsville, and we sat down. And, I'll tell you what he said. He said, "Brownsville, you from Brownsville?" He said, "Man, I've been in jail in Brownsville." He laughed, and we did, but we got to talk. But that was his first show out of jail.
Okay.
And, stuff like that we think back and think, we didn't get pictures, we didn't get recordings, but we sat there for about an hour watching him rehearse for the show.
Well, it would seem inappropriate to get pictures, right?
You didn't want, and it was the same way in Nashville. A lot of things I think about now, and I think, man, I wished I'd have just gotten, And I do have a lot of good pictures, but I don't have anywhere close to what I wished I'd got.
Ike Turner, that'd be, Nutbush and Tina.
But it was really an interesting time.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, when we come back, we're going to do some music, and that's how we will end this show. This has been a great journey, and we appreciate the opportunity to be with these guys. Blue Shine Duo, Steve Patterson and Jimmy D. Taylor, and we'll be right back with more as we continue this Studio 6.